You can see me, right?
No, there's nothing on your phone.
There's nothing on
But
my
if you're showing up on the screen, that's all
yeah,
that
I'm
matters.
showing up on my screen. Yep. Looks like I'm live. All right. Well, for now, that's the way it's going to go. All right. We're running live, so I'm just going to hang out here for minutes and see if anybody shows up. Do you want to? Hey.
It says watch live now.
Yeah. Okay. So, see how it looks. Tell me. Go into the basement or go into the next floor and tell me how audio sounds, please. Whoa, 10:41, everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning. We are trying to help people grow our channels. Yay. Looks like we have one person. If you're out there and if you can hear me, say hi. Dum, da, dum, dum. Today, we're going to talk about how I use Reddit to build community, learn, share, and grow. So let's just see if anybody actually shows up. And if somebody does, then we'll chat about it. I see one person's possibly here. Do you want to identify yourself and say hi? Who are you? If you have any questions, we are talking about Reddit today, how we use Reddit to build community, learn, share, and grow. Other things we want to talk about is, the YouTube journey, passion, strategy, time, what it takes, the commitment, titles, thumbnails, descriptions, content, lots of stuff that we're trying to figure out here. Yeah, nice. Okay. How does sound sound, Cal? Do I need to go higher, lower? Is it annoying? Sound apparently is a really important part of it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. Great. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to record the live stream. And if anybody else shows up before I'm done, then maybe we'll engage. If not, then maybe somebody will watch this a little later. Okay. So how do I use Reddit to learn, share, and build community? Well, to be honest with you, this week I was feeling kind of down in the dumps. Not really down in the dumps, but morale was low. And I was trying to figure out, what do I need to do to keep my channel moving forward? And so I decided to go on to Reddit. Normally when I go on to Reddit, I'm just kind of reading in the background. I'm not really engaging with the community, and I'm just kind of, learning. And I spend my time really just in the background. But I was kind of in the dumps this week, and I was looking for community support, I guess is what I was really doing. And I love Reddit because you can really get in there and you can, ask questions. You can read what other people are saying. You can learn from other people's struggles. So I think personally, if I've got something on my mind, I will go on to Reddit and I'm going to ask a question. And then I got a whole bunch of feedback. Let me see if I can share that feedback with you. Looks like we have 2 people on board today. So that's kind of nice. If you, say hi, my mystery second person. I would love to know where you're from, how you found me. Looks like they've abandoned. Okay. So let's go here real quick. And so the question was, My question was a question for anyone under 1,000 subscribers. How long have you been trying to get to 1,000 subscribers? Was the first question. Is your channel an entertainment or educational channel? And what is your end goal for your channel? And then I ended it with thank you for answering my questions. Well, believe it or not, I was quite surprised. I picked up 199 interactions and was quite surprised. So, what I was trying to do here was actually just read basically other people's journeys because I was trying to relate to my own. And so here are some of these responses. I'm not going to give anybody's name away. I'm not going to give anybody's handles away. I'm going to just read their responses and we'll just keep moving on. So actively posting for a little over a month now. If I was overly concerned with my sub count, I'd branch out into different games. But I'm fine being a small fish in a small pond. So I was like, okay, well that's nice. This next person said they've been actively uploading for 3 months and they are currently at 169 subscribers. Literally post 2 to 3 shorts a day now. So I was like, okay, good. We'll move on to the next person. It took me 6 months to get to 1,000 subscribers and then another 3 weeks to get to 1.5 thousand. Long form content 2 times a week. And of course, I'd come on to Reddit to try to figure out where do I stand and how am I doing? And I've done a little bit of research, and some of the research says that the average channel takes about 15.5 months to reach 1,000 subscribers. And so that's around 64 subscribers a month if somebody's on pace to see if they can get to 1,000 subscribers. And I've gone through all of these replies, and some of them are as fantastic as it took me like 6 months. Then there are some people who are like, I've been battling for like 8 years, and I'm like, wow, have you got endurance? So let's just keep reading a few more of these. Next one said, almost 2 years in, and I'm only at 281 subscribers. I have a pretty niche focus though, or maybe my videos just stink. I mean, I think that if you're trying to build a channel, the most important thing I think for myself and for anybody is passion. You've got to be passion driven. This is definitely a long game. I see that we have somebody on, and welcome, but I'm not sure if it's you, Kel, or if it's a new person. So if you are a new person, introduce yourself, ask questions. We're talking about what we need to do to climb the Everest mountain and kind of get out of the under 1,000 subscribers and into the YouTube partner program. And I am talking today about what I do when I'm kind of feeling down and out, or if I'm feeling kind of sluggish about the efforts. I'm going on to Reddit and I'm kind of reading some replies to kind of lift my morale and to kind of size up where I'm going. And so currently, if you are a new viewer and my only viewer, which is fantastic, I don't really care if it's 1 or 1,000, but if I can help one person, that would be really, really nice. My question was, I put out a post a couple of days ago that said, a question for anyone under 1,000 subscribers. I had 3 questions under that heading. How long have you been trying to get to 1,000 subscribers? Is your channel an entertainment or educational channel? And what is your end goal for your channel? Now, when we look at that second question, whether you're an entertainment or educational, entertainment really falls into, is it funny, weird, or embarrassing? Those are the 3 categories that seem to really fall under entertainment, which I'm not. I find myself more of an educational channel. And what is your end goal for the channel? And then, thank you for answering my questions. And so, I started in January of this year. I registered the channel in January, I think of like 22 or 23, but then I was kind of in analysis paralysis for a while. And I finally just snapped and said, I'm going to just start uploading and, practicing and getting comfortable in front of the camera and pursuing my dreams and pushing through all of the chatter that's going on in my brain. Like, do you feel stupid or uncomfortable? Are you going to feel embarrassed? What are your friends going to say? And there's a whole bunch of like little roadblocks that you got to deal with. And I fought through all of those and started kind of posting up in January of this year. And so 10 months later, I'm at just over 500 subscribers, and it's not easy. So I went on to Reddit to see if I could kind of look for a little bit of morale, I guess. And so this person came back with, I've been almost at it for 2 years, and I'm only at 281 subscribers. I have a pretty niche focus now, or maybe my videos just, he's kind of putting himself down, which I don't want to really read, but he's not really happy with himself. And I think, hey, man, if you've been grinding it out for 2 years, you should be proud of yourself, because it is not easy. And let's move on to the next one here, so I can kind of give you an idea as to, where you are. I've been posting for 9 months, and I've reached 100 subscribers a few weeks ago. So it's probably going to take a while. And so the whole point of this little engagement with Reddit was to just kind of let myself know that, it is a long climb. It is Everest. Everybody gets to base camp, right? A lot of people want to show up at base camp. And so they're like, okay, here we are. And then we're all kind of looking up at the mountain going, wow, there's YouTube. And, getting to the very top, how do you summit that? And there's, a whole bunch of things that I'm kind of like chewing on. You've got to have the support at home from your family. As an older person like myself, who has a whole bunch of adult responsibilities, you got to go to work. You got to come home and try to participate in your chores. And one of the most fantastic parts of my strategy is I have a wonderful partner in the background who gives me the time to actually grind away and put these very simple videos that I'm uploading together. Even the most basic video takes time. You got to figure out, what do you want to talk about? You got to figure out the title. You got to do. I use a Chrome extension called TubeBuddy. I'm constantly doing tag evaluations. Then I'm coming up with the best description, and then I'm, uploading and then optimizing. And so even at the most basic level, you're looking at like 3 to 5 hours to get through the most basic upload. So no, not enough credit goes to the people in your life in the background. And in my case, it's my wonderful partner, Kelly, who gives me these opportunities. And so, I'm just very thankful. If you're a younger person and you're living at home with your mom and dad, or you don't have to worry about paying bills, well, then you have even that much more time. So that's kind of, good for you. All right, let's read a few more here. Let's see here. This person said, I'm sorry. Let's get out of this one. Here, this is the next one right here. Wow, I am really sorry. I'm just going to go down here like this. Here we go. Next. I'm at 398, hoping to get to 400 soon. That was all I got. And I tried to get, So I said, how long is it taking you to get to 398 subscribers? And are you an entertainment or an educational channel? And the person came back with gaming, about a year, but had about 3 months off due to personal reasons. And, that I get that. Let's get on to the next one here. I don't even know. I do toy photography, and most of my videos are behind the scenes looks at the setups with tips on how to do similar things. So both maybe. I try to educate fellow toy photographers and entertain non-photographers. Maybe I need to pick one and really lean into it. Let's see here. Then I tried to ask him, what is the end goal? And I guess what I'm asking is, do you care if your channel ever gets monetized? And he came back with, my main goal is to get my photography out there and maybe land some kind of partnership with or job at a toy company. I obviously need to grow my channel substantially even to be on these companies' radars. And I would monetize if I got the followings, but making money from YouTube is not my main goal. So that was kind of interesting. And, we went through a whole pile of them. The next one said, I can also answer as I'm just at 1,000 now. It took 3 years to get to 1,000. And so, I went through like I think it was like 199 of them, which was really, really useful for me because it picked me up. Yeah, we had 199 interactions. And so, it did what I had to do. I think that if you're, trying to figure out something for your channel, Reddit is definitely a great stomping ground to throw out a question and kind of get feedback on what people are doing and what they're kind of dealing with. But I also want to focus on, when you look at your YouTube journey, you're also looking at, okay, I think because this is such a long game, you definitely have to be passionate about what you're doing. I don't think that if you're putting your best foot forward without passion, I think at some point you're just gonna like bomb out and give up because you've got to really, really be into what you're doing to kind of sustain the endurance that you need for this platform. Then you got to have a strategy. And so, like, that strategy is like very simple, but it's also like super challenging and difficult. And your strategy right from the get-go, you should be looking at your channel like it's a business. When you look at a business, any business on the planet, when you're looking at it, every business goes through a infancy, it goes through an adolescent stage, and it goes through a maturity stage. There are some people in that 199 interactions that told me, "Hey, I was monetized in 3 weeks." And that's like absolutely fantastic. But a lot of people aren't getting that lucky. And so the average person is taking the average channel is taking 15.5 months. That's 64 subscribers a month to get to 1,000 subscribers. So your strategy is, okay, you're a brand and you're building a business. You're a solo content creator and you are basically promoting yourself. And so what are you bringing to the table? What value are you bringing to the table? And you got to ask yourself, who is your audience? And what does your audience care about? So then you got to ask yourself, are you an entertainment or are you a educational channel? Once you figure out what your brand is, then you got to start basically going through the reps of shooting video, editing, optimizing, and then uploading. I try really hard not to do that. When we look at let's have a quick look at the optimization of your channel. There are really 3 areas that are like super important. You've got the title, you've got the description, and you've got the thumbnail. Now I've done a bunch of reading, and if you want to keep your titles to under 60 characters for the title, you're probably wondering, well, why do I have to worry about keeping my title character count under 60 characters? Well, there's a little bit of research that I've done says that 70% of people that are watching YouTube are on mobile devices. So if your title becomes a little too long, then all of a sudden it's whatever my title is, ... And so now you're not even really conveying what that title is to the world, and you're going to totally miss out. The next part in that whole optimization after the title is you got to look at the description. Now, YouTube says that the title, description, and thumbnail are the most important parts of your optimization. So you keep it under 60 characters on the title. We know that 70% of the YouTube audience is on mobile. And if we go beyond 60 characters, you're going to see when you're looking on your phone. If you get a chance, just look on your phone. Look at the titles. It'll be like, whatever my title is, ... And if you've got that, whatever my title is, ... you're going to lose possibly an opportunity to have somebody see your video and actually watch it. Then we have to look at the description. YouTube says that the most important part of that description is the first 200 characters. So you have to keep that in mind. And you're kind of taking the valuable tags that are in the title and you're kind of moving them down and you're putting them in the description. Now, you can go beyond 200 characters, but from what I've read and understood, YouTube's AI or their analytics will look at those first 200 characters to try to figure out where your audience is and then to try to go out there and bring them to you. So that's super important. Then, after you figure out titles and descriptions, you got to look at your thumbnail. And your thumbnail is very, very important. Your thumbnail, when you're thinking about your thumbnail, you have to think about basically the 3 trigger emotions that a thumbnail is going to generate. Now, from what I've read and understood, the most important kind of like emotional trigger for a thumbnail will be curiosity. Curiosity is like the most powerful emotion. And if you kind of want to know what's going on, you can use a chat GDP to kind of ask chat, okay, I want to know something about the audience, ask the question, chat's going to bring it back to you. And then you kind of use that to build your thumbnail and kind of like project that curiosity. Now, the curiosity part of it is a lot like, it's kind of like an open loop. It's like, I want to know what's happening next. That's kind of curiosity. We're very, very curious as human beings. So that's the first major emotional trigger on the thumbnails. Number 2 is contrast. Think of it as a, best way of thinking about contrast is, comparing opposites. That's trigger number 2. Then there's fear. Unfortunately, we do have fear. Fear is stress. Stress causes action. We're all wired to listen to warnings. Fear is almost like a car crash. I'm a good driver. I'm driving down the highway, but what happens when we see a car crash? Everybody slows down. Everybody rubbernecks. Everybody looks, well, what's going on? What's going on? So, fear is another emotional trigger to a thumbnail. Then there's desire, right? Desire, hope and dreams. Time framing it. Somebody comes on who's a, YouTuber and they've got 3 weeks. Or, you see a YouTuber and he's been at it for 10 years. The time frame on that thumbnail or that description or title, who are you going to believe possibly more? And, that does bring up an interesting question. And so I'm going to pose it out there. Maybe somebody will get back to me and answer it. But here's my question to you. When you are making a decision whether you're going to subscribe to a channel, do you evaluate the channel's subscribers and view counts to legitimize the channel? Do you say to yourself, if this person has 100 subscribers and 10,000 views, and both people are talking about the same subject, and the other person you're looking at has 100,000 subscribers and 10 million views, does that person's content to you mean more? Do you validate that channel as more legitimate than the one that has only 100 subscribers and, hardly any views? Super curious to know about that, because, is that something that everybody does? When you're kind of surfing online and you come across something before you subscribe to that channel or before you spend any time on that channel, are you, before you either go in or during or before you leave that channel, are you looking at how many subscribers does the channel have? How many views does it have? Does that influence whether you're going to subscribe to the channel or not? I'd really like to know. What else can we talk about? I mean, if you're serious about your channel, you're putting in 15 plus hours a week all day long. You're basically living and breathing this, and sometimes when people are on YouTube, because I'm a small content creator myself, you're mining for information. You're trying to figure out, okay, who has, what to offer. And I find that a lot of people, the big channels, they will say, hey, here's what I can offer you, but it's going to cost you money. I get it. You've been at it for years and years and years. I know you've been at it for years and years, and that's your worth. The thing that makes me a little crazy is that, you're not really saying to the person that you're possibly engaging with that, what I'm offering you does work because you've proven it to yourself, or you've proven it, but that proof took like 5 to 10 years to actually happen. So the problem that I'm having at times is that when I hear somebody say, hey, listen, if you pay for my program or if you follow my system, you're going to have success, or you're going to have a better chance at success. But they always leave out the fact that, well, it did take that person 5 or 10 years to get to where they needed to go. And I think that's where it might be a little misleading. The only way that I think you're going to succeed on this platform, because this is the struggle that I'm in, is you have to be really passionate about wanting to be a content creator. Then you're going to have to get comfortable in front of the camera, and you're going to have to learn to relax. And you're going to then have to figure out, what do you stand for? What value are you bringing to the table? And then who is your audience? And it sounds like such an easy formula, right? Take passion, figure out what you stand for, and then try to go out and find who cares about it. And then, of course, you would create a following. Well, in my case, I'm on the educational side, and I kind of want to share the journey, because there seems to be right now 2 topics that I'm right into. One, trying to figure out, not trying to figure out, slowly working on what it takes to be a content creator who will get over that 1,000 subscriber threshold. Everybody's on YouTube because they want to make a little bit of money. Let's be honest. So, of course, I spent a fair bit of time thinking about how awesome it's going to feel when you and I have put in all of the months and years, because I think that's what it's going to take to get to where we need to go. I think a lot of people, I do feel a bit worried for the younger generation that's going on right now. We're living in a 15-second society. There's all of this Reddit and TikTok scrolling going on. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in regards to the whole YouTube platform. YouTube is running a business. YouTube has made it very loud and clear and has said, if you can create engaging content and keep the viewer on our platform long enough so that we can then stick our ads in between your content, we're going to support you, and we're going to go out and find more and more viewers and subscribers for your channel. If you can't keep somebody on the platform long enough for us to put our ads in between your content, you're going to feel like you're on an island. So I think what people aren't doing is, I don't think people are taking it really seriously the way they should be. YouTube does not hate you. YouTube is not against you. YouTube is saying, we're in a serious business, and we're only going to support content that is engaging, that possibly brings value to the table and keeps the viewer watching. And so you've got to really figure that out. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. That's not how it works. It might work, but that might take you 20 years. I'm not interested in 20 years. What I would like to do is I would like to, achieve. I'm not going to give up until I achieve monetization. I am so determined to get to monetization, you know, it is not easy. It's really hard. And it does feel like well, I'm calling it Everest right now. It does feel like you're looking up at Everest. We're at base camp right now. Everybody's like, I want to be a YouTuber. That's what I want to do. So, okay, well, you get your gear, right? I've got an iPhone 13. I'm using a DJI wireless mic. I've got a nice Manfrotto tripod. I've got a MacBook Air. I've got my iPad. I've got my whiteboard. I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I collect all that gear and I am going to march my way to base camp. And now we're at base camp. Millions of us, absolutely millions of us. Let me blast out of here for a second. And let me just show you how many millions of people are actually with us. Let me just go to notes. Just hang in there for me. Let's see here. Just give me a second. Boom. And let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Now I want a little more. I want a little more stat on that. Hang on, please. Hang on. So I got a few interesting numbers that I would like to share that I think is really, really important. Okay, so here we go. Here are these really fun numbers. I am curious to know, there's one person watching this live stream. Is that you, Kel, or is that an actual real audience member? If you're a real audience member, I would love to see you just thumbs up or something. But if not, then at least tell me that it's you, Kel, because one person is watching. All right, so here's what I'm trying to say in regards to we're all at base camp. Here it is. Here's base camp. Total registered YouTube channels or accounts is 114 million people. 114 million people. 50.2 million of those people, or 44% of 114 million, only have between 0 and 100 subscribers. Just start, you know. Okay, I got it. Thanks. And then, of course, if we look at it again, of the 114 million, we've got 63.8 million channels that have between 100 and 1,000 subscribers. That's 56% of us. That's where I am. I'm in the 56% club. And my goal is to get out of that 63.8 million subscriber registered channel pool and battle my way up to 1,000 subscribers. And that's pretty well all I'm going to say in regards to where we are, because after that, it does shrink down to 8.86. And then it does shrink further down to 5%. So a lot of people think that it's super easy, it's super easy to be a YouTuber. It is not easy. Looks like we've got a second person out there. I was wondering if you could say hi. And currently right now, we are talking about, well, we're using Everest as a metaphor. Well, there's 3 people. Hey, hi, 2 more people. Yay. Right now, we're using Everest as a metaphor to describe how hard it is and the challenge and the journey to actually climb to the top of Everest and go from being under 1,000 subscribers to someone who has more than 1,000 subscribers. So if you're still there, which you're not, you've blasted away. Okay. And that's okay. At the end of the day, I think in order to, why do I want to be a content creator? The things that I like about being a content creator. Well, I have a fascination with being mobile. I have a fascination with, you can tap in from anywhere around the world as long as you've got an internet connection. And you can basically, hopefully help people, provide value in your content. And from the tips of your fingers, with enough community support, you can earn an income. I mean, how awesome is that? And I'm 54 years old, and I'm a little worried about my future, to be honest, because I made a bunch of mistakes in my life, and you know, when I retire, I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do? Looks like we have, we had one person, and that person snuck away again. So the goal for me is, when I'm done actually working my current day job, is to do two things with my channel. One, I hope to help people who are younger than me with life experiences. It would be really super cool to be able to possibly, have somebody reach out and say, "Well, I'm kind of in this situation, so what do you think?" And if I've got a reference, possibly offer you some help. I know that if I was a young person today, late teens, early 20s, and I had the option to kind of go on and look ahead and talk to somebody, I'd be all over it. I know, I'm also fascinated with the fact that like you're online. Here I am in my home, tapped in, all set up, talking to whoever from around the world. And I just can't get enough of that. It's like, wow. Because earlier in my life, there was no YouTube. And I think, man, what it must be like. If you can, if you can figure out who you are in regards to what your channel is offering the audience, and if you can figure out what your audience cares about, and if you can bring those two together, and if you can provide honest value, your channel is going to slowly grow. And I can't imagine the feeling of having that community support you and say, you know what, thanks. And in return, give back. Now, I was on Reddit yesterday, and an interesting thing happened. So I'll share that with you because that was totally crazy. We had somebody come on to the community who was just bragging their brains out, and I'll read it to you. So this person said, and this was kind of scary. This person come on and said, we are very successful. We've got, we've driven in something like 450 million views over 25 channels. And we have a total subscriber base of 3 million followers. And so I was like, oh, maybe I can learn something from this guy. So I went and DM'd him and I said, hey, can I get your channel link? And that person came back with, nope, can't do it for you. And I was like, okay, I was a little surprised. And of course, right away, my little spidey senses went off because I was like, if somebody who has successfully developed a channel or a ecosystem of like 450 million views over 25 channels and has a subscriber following of 3 million, why would you be private about that? I would be so proud of myself. I'd be like, sure, here's a link, no problem. And so, it didn't feel right. So of course I went back out to my community and I created a post real quick saying, be careful, everybody. I just DM'd him and asked him if I could get his channel name link. And he said, no champ to me. So then, of course, he wasn't happy with that little broadcast. So then he came back with, I'm sorry, but I didn't know. I didn't know having some privacy about my digital assets is illegal. I help people for free. And I was like, anyway, so then I replied back. I said, you know what? I can feel the slime dripping right off of you right now. And then he's like, get over yourself. And I'm like, man, I am over myself. Mr. Slippery Slope, I said, why would somebody with such a bold statement be so private? If you're so successful, cough it up. And he wasn't happy with that. So then I kind of concluded my little poke with shark meets shark. Shark doesn't like the other shark. The good shark just stares him down. I bet the bad shark swims away. Well, He came back with, people like you are the reasons why communities like this suffer and can't have nice things. So he told me to grow up. And I was like, whatever. It did not take long. I think it took about an hour, and Reddit had deleted everything that he had done. The thing that was scary to me was that when he put this post out on our community on Reddit, everybody flocked to him. And I was like, wow, this is so dangerous. I mean, somebody could totally take advantage of you because we're all so hungry to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Man, it is not easy. And, a lot of people think, oh, if I just pay, I'm going to get to where I need to go. But you pay, there's no payment out there that's going to bring you the passion that you have to have in your system. There's no payment that's going to replace the amount of time that you need to invest in order to develop your channel. There's no money that's going to replace or substitute or give you, the development of value that you need in order to offer your community, and slowly discovering through engagement what your audience cares about, and continuing to engage and build community and take your channel from infancy to adolescence to maturity. I'm not really sure why everybody thinks that their channel should be like blowing up in like, breakneck speed. You go to school, university, that's like a mandatory 4 years. I mean, I'm using Everest as a metaphor, but look at university. University, just at the most, I don't want to call it basic level because I didn't go to university, but when someone goes to university and they're looking for their entry level degree, that takes like 4 years. Then I think it's another 2 or 3 years to get a master's, and then it might be another 3 or 4 years to do a PhD. So before you know it, that person has invested 10 years of their life to become a specialist in whatever area of their studies is. Well, YouTube is just like going to university. I have signed up, even though I know that it takes 15.5 months to get to 1,000 subscribers on average, which is 64 subscribers a month if you're tracking the pace. But I know that I'm signing up for years and years and years of grinding away, doing a live stream with, I think, the only supporter being my fantastic partner. I love you, Kelly. Even if we have zero, I don't care, because we've discovered some battles and we're working through them. And you know what? I know that I kick and scream, and even though nobody's watching this and I don't really care, I want you to know that it's because of you that I am exactly where I am, and you're the one that gives me the energy to put up with all of this. Because I think a lot of people, and this is just between me and you, Kel, but like, I don't really care if anybody's watching right now, but I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of people, because I think I've experienced the other side. There are a lot of people who are in a relationship who are, not our age, but are adults. And he or she is going to say to their partner, I'm going to be a YouTuber. And I think instantly, I'm going to say 50% of the time, and I'm probably being generous because obviously I don't have any research on that, but I think there are a lot of people out there who are going to go, yeah, right. There's no support. The other person, I think, automatically starts making you feel like, well, I was going to say SHIT. So let's maybe just spell it out because we're trying to respect YouTube. And then all of a sudden, like you're kind of insecure already about the whole idea, because it is, let's be honest, it is totally weird. It doesn't feel as weird anymore because, we're 10 months in and we're talking to a camera. But I hope that it does get better because I can still feel it sitting there, watching me. But at some point, it'll be like in the background. So you've got all of these weird feelings of like, okay, because as a human being, you're trying to figure out, how this feels and how that feels. And you're trying new things. And it's all about repetition and then eventually relaxing and then kind of, fading into the background. So even from the get-go, you've got a significant other in your life that says, that's a stupid idea. Who cares about what you have to say or do on YouTube? And I think that kills a lot of hope. I think that kills a lot of dreams when you don't have that unconditional support. So, I want you to know, because we're going to keep this forever and ever. We're not going to delete it, and we're just going to archive it, I guess is probably what it is, because this is like, try number one. But, you're a fantastic person in my life who, doesn't judge me and supports me unconditionally. And I want the world to know how lucky I am, because a lot of people don't want to talk about what's going on behind the scenes and what kind of support are people getting in order to find the time to do this. And without your support, I wouldn't be able to do it. So, I just want you to know that you're a fantastic person and I hit a home run. But now let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about something that I think is very, very important for everybody. And so I want to just kind of, let's see if we can do this. There we go. This here is a fantastic resource. There is a ton of information in here. I think that when somebody actually really wants to understand the scale of how serious YouTube is in regards to what it's asking from you as a solo content creator, I'm telling you, do yourself a favor. This was a $29 book. $29 book. It's like a Bible for those who are seriously interested in understanding how YouTube thinks and what it needs from you. So I'm just gonna, can we do that? Here, let's just do that right there. Yeah, look at that. That looks pretty. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. This is kind of where I'm getting some of my information. I'm also getting the information that I'm sharing with you from just general Google searches. And I'm also sharing this and some of the information I'm getting from just asking questions on Reddit. Reddit, Google, the YouTube formula. Those are the three resources. And, you're just going to have to continue to grind it out. I'm 47 minutes in. If you're still watching, Kel, I'm not going past an hour. We will eventually wrap it up. If you're still listening, Kel, does the audio sound okay or does it sound brutal? Yo, look who it is. It's my friend from India. Hey, man, how's it going? I've just spent 47 minutes. I'm on an island. Hey, don't worry about being late. Have you got any questions today? Hi, Kel. Man, it is so nice to have like one new person on board. I've been battling it out for 48 minutes. And but this is why I love this is, I'm prepared to do this. I am prepared to, I don't want to say run myself over, but I am prepared to, live on an island all by myself until somebody gets it. How's the weather down there today? This is the part that I love about YouTube. Here I am. I'm in Canada. I'm in my attic. And yeah, I do remember. You're the 18-year-old young man in India who said he was looking to move out soon and was looking for some life advice. You don't think I remember you? Of course I remember you. And but I want to know how you doing today. Can you tell me what the weather's like down there? This is so much fun now. Like, it's just amazing what one new person does for engagement. Well, have you moved out yet? I guess is the next question. Have you moved out yet, or what's the plan? I would really like to know. Not yet. All right. Well, I'm just curious. Do you want to move out because you want to move out, or do you want to move out because home life is not good? I guess is my question. Because if it's good, let's say you're getting along with your mom and dad, I would Well, my academic year hasn't been over yet. Okay. Do you know what you want to do when you grow up? How does that sound? Do you know what what is your dream? You're 18 years old. When I think about being 18 years old, man, let me tell you, I was such a doorknob. Uh, and that's okay. But I'm just curious, what do you have a dream? Do you know what your dream is at 18? Do you know what you're passionate about? When you're not at school or possibly doing chores around the house or possibly helping, your mom and dad, what do you find yourself doing uh, in your spare time? I think is a good question because that will relay your passion. Do you have a passion? How does that sound? So we just spent like 50 minutes talking about, Reddit and how I use Reddit to learn as much as I can about my audience, ask questions to boost my morale. And then I also talked about, using Google to do market research. Look at you. Yes, I do play chess in my free time. You know what? Are you good at chess? That's my next question. Are you good at chess? Because I know that if you had access to a camera and a microphone, or maybe just even a camera, and if you recorded let's look at chess for a second, because I know that you can record. Well, I guess I'm decent. Well, good for you, because I don't know the first thing about chess. But I know that, there are people online who record their chess games, and that seems to be quite popular. I think you could also, if there was any desire to be a YouTuber, you could also teach. People would love to watch and learn how to play. Yes, absolutely. That was the next comment I was going to make. I think that if you, broke it down, if you started a channel saying, "Hey, I like to play chess, and I'm going to very slowly explain how the game operates," I would follow your channel. There is a small part of me that would love to understand how chess works and possibly learn to play it. And I think there are a lot of people out there who would probably tune into your channel and watch your lessons. So now you're doing something that you like, because you say you find yourself playing chess in your free time, in your spare time. And now you're recording the lesson. And this is what I love about content creating. This is what I love about YouTube. You get to record it once, and that's it. And then it's residual. It just plays back over and over and over and over and over. So you spend time, you record that tutorial on how to play chess, and then you upload it, and that's it. And if you do the correct title, if you do the correct description, if you do the right thumbnail, if you do the right, they say tags aren't a big deal, but I still crank out the tags, and I do a full optimization. I do the best that I can. I use TubeBuddy as a Chrome extension. Boom. Now somebody's going to watch your little tutorial over and over and over and over and over and over. So, you should really think about it. Do you want to be a content creator, or do you just want to be an audience member out there and you just want to tune in and watch stuff? I would really like to know. Let's see if we can get an answer. Yeah, I might as well do that once my finals are over, because I will get around 3 months' time. Sounds fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, my friend. If you start a channel about teaching people how to play chess, I will follow you. I will subscribe to your channel, because I would love to try to learn how to play chess. I agree. Have to run. Thanks for sharing. All righty. As you can see, this book here, for anybody who is like seriously serious about developing a YouTube channel, that is something that you have to read. There's so much information in there. I mean, you could find some bits and pieces of it online, but I prefer kind of like an old school approach. You know, I'm going to open up the book, I'm going to highlight what I think is important, and then it's kind of like my little Bible right now. Every time I need to refer back to something, I will just go and look at it. I'm curious, do you have any questions that you would like to ask that I would love to try to answer for you? And I do appreciate you showing up, man. I tell you, I'm on an island right now. It's been lonely. I've had my wonderful partner watch me and kind of cheer me on. And so, of course, that's nice. But it, obviously, you hope to get more than, the person that loves and supports you unconditionally to be watching. And so, when you showed up, it was really nice. And I just want to say thank you because, you actually made time to actually show up and actually, participate and watch my live stream, which I think is just wonderful because as you can see, there's only 2 people. And really, let's be honest, there's only one, which is you. So I'm really, really thankful. I am glad that I was of any use. Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I'm still totally blown away because, I'm old enough to know what life was like before YouTube. And now I'm also still on the planet and now enjoying YouTube because I think it came along in 2005 or 6. And here we are. And so I think it's totally crazy. I'm in my attic and I get to talk to somebody across the world, which to me is like, it's every time I think of the concept of us being connected through an internet connection around the world together on this platform completely blows me away. It is one of the things that I love about the concept of being a content creator. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do live in Canada. So the area of Canada, because we have provinces. So I am actually in a province called Ontario, and we live close to large bodies of water. And I guess for me, the closest one would be Lake Ontario. And if we want to kind of narrow that down even a little bit more, when I say Ontario, I live. I'm pretty sure you've heard of there's, I guess, I'm going to say there's 2 really big cities in this country. There's Toronto, which is basically East Coast. Well, we're central of the country actually, and then we have Vancouver, which is like West Coast. So I live about an hour and a half, 90 minutes from our one of our most popular cities in Canada called Toronto. And right now it's getting cold, so reality check coming up, and the garden is going to bed, and now we'll be waiting for spring in the springtime. So yes. Sheesh, where was I? Well, listen, if there must be many Indians out there too, I guess. When you say Indians, you're referring to Middle Eastern. You're, I'm not. I hope that you don't take me the wrong way, and I'm not. I don't want to be ignorant, but we're talking about people from India, or are you talking about indigenous culture or indigenous people? Yeah, there must be many Indians out there too, I guess. So let's see if I can get that cleared up. Are we talking about people from India, or are we talking about an indigenous population? "59 minutes in." Wow. We might have to do this again. No, people from India. Okay. Yeah, you know what? There is. And I personally, I don't really care. let's be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't, everybody gets 3 strikes. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, Indian, indigenous. I don't care where you come from around the world. If you're a decent human being and you're, you know, conducting yourself accordingly, then I don't have a problem with it. So you get 3 strikes. And, I think you have a lot of control. I think the world is really, really crazy right now. But I think you have a lot of control. You get up in the morning, and you have a choice. You have a choice to say, well, do I want to lead with thunder, clouds, lightning, and rain, or do I want to look for the sun and the blue sky? And I'm not really sure what's going on in our society, to be honest with you, buddy. But there's a lot of angry people. There's a lot of mad people. There's man, the place is just crazy. And I think social media, to be honest, I think social media has a lot to do with it. When I think about when I was a kid, you got a bit of a look into people's lives because you went and knocked on their doors. I mean, that's the way it was for me when I was younger, because I'm 54 years old today. And so you knocked on the door, and then, the parent would come to the door, and you would go through this kind of like social etiquette kind of exchange. Hey, is Mikey home? Can I see Mikey? No, Mikey's grounded. Nope, Mikey's doing chores. Nope, Mikey's cutting the grass. Nope, Mikey's doing homework. You can't see him right now. Come back later. And you'd be like, okay, sir, Mr. X, and then you'd kind of walk away. But when you look at today, man, it's just crazy. Parents don't exist. Like, parents have been so bypassed with social media, right? You get on your phone and you're like, yo, what's up? And, you're in your bedroom, just chilling in my bedroom. Do you want to hang out? Yeah, sure. Coming right over, meet you here, meet you at the mall. I'm on my bike. I'll meet you here. So all of that's kind of like been wiped out. And then I think what's causing a lot of this craziness, and this is just my ignorant, humble opinion, is we have people who are just rubbing it in online, right? Look at me, look what I got. And I think that's causing, a lot of depression. I'm not really sure. A lot of sadness. Well, if I may ask, do you have any children? Absolutely. Yep. I have 2 grown children. My little one is 20 and my oldest is 24. And, as a parent, that's an interesting discussion, to be honest. As someone who has now spent basically 24 years as a parent, because that's how old my oldest is, sometimes I do say, man, the amount of worry that I'm going through because I love my kids so much. There are times when I say, man, if I knew how much I was going to love my kid today, if I could go back, there's a really good chance I probably wouldn't have kids. Because you're signing up for a lifetime of worry, right? If you love your kids the way I love my kids, and now that they're adults, they're independent. They drive, they have their own lives, and you're just constantly thinking, am I going to get an ugly phone call telling me that my child has been hurt, injured, disabled, or dead? Like, it's just, it's a terrible feeling to have that constant worry because you love your kids so much. As a parent, it's my greatest accomplishment, to be honest. So you have said, I really want to know what parents expect from their children after they are an adult. Okay, well, that's a good question. A lot of people, for myself, you hope that your child grows up to be independent and, you just want to be proud of your kid. You want to know that your kid is a good person. And, Excuse me. Gotta itch my nose. Yeah, when I think about parenting, I put a lot of pressure on parents because they're the ones who are leading the way. They're the ones who made the decision to bring a child into the world. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people really misunderstand the task. And I did a little research. Give me a second because you've asked me a really nice question, and I'm going to share some thoughts with you on that. So let me just see here. Let me just see here. All right, so just listen to this for a second. When you look at a relationship, when two people are together, you have to be able to find the balance in that relationship. Making and sharing decisions together has to be 50-50. Two people, one person can't be the nut. You can't be in charge. Two people are together. You can't be in charge. You have to share that responsibility, right? So keep that in mind, because obviously you're at the beginning of all that. Then let's look at communication. Two people need to be able to sit down and talk to each other, and I think that's a real issue. I think a lot of people don't have that, and I've got that. So I'm going to try to explain communication to you, because that's something that you should really try to understand. Some people don't feel the trust. Some people don't feel the safeness of getting something off their chest. I think a lot of people keep it on their chest, and I call that, on a metaphorical front, I call that a grain of sand. And so something bothers you and you keep it on your chest. Something bothers you again, you keep it on your chest. And so now you're collecting all of these grains of sand. Well, over time, years, when two people are together, if they can't communicate what is bothering them, then that pile of sand gets so big that, one, you can't move it. Two, it's very hard to get out of the way. Three, you just can't clean it up because you've let 10, 15, 20 years of your life pile up, and it comes between you. And that's where problems, I think, really, really happen. But if you can find somebody that understands that communication between two people is key, it's one of the most keyest parts of a successful relationship. And to feel the trust and the safeness for two people to be able to get what they have on their chest off their chest, and then crush it because we're both at the table talking about it, and then clean it away so it always stays really light and it doesn't feel heavy. That keeps it fresh. That keeps it real. That keeps the love, the respect, the friendship fresh. You're with somebody. There's never, if you can clear all those grain, every time you get a grain of sand, you put it on the table and you crush it. You never get anything built up on you. So there's no bitterness. You're not starting to hate the person. You're not growing apart, because you've come to this understanding that you have this trust that you can say, hey, I don't like something here. I don't like what's going on. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like this. I don't like this behavior. Whatever that I don't like is. If two people can talk about that, there's a lot of success there, because I've been on both sides and I'm experiencing a much happier experience right now. So communication is huge. And then I did tap on respect. If there is no respect in the relationship, it won't last. And then we have to look at compatibility. Compatibility, you can't have a saver and a spender. It just doesn't work. If that makes any sense. Then we have to have a look at love. Love comes from a deep appreciation and understanding from the areas of the relationship. Now, here's where I think things get a little tricky. I think a lot of people don't really understand the impact, the relationship up until having children is one identity. You're two adults who have a certain amount of independence, but you still have adult responsibilities and you do have a schedule. And so I'll give you the adult without the children kind of couple, a day in the life of a couple who are together that don't have kids. Here's 24 hours. The alarm goes off and you spring out of bed, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, you have breakfast, you get dressed, you jump in the car, you drive to work. You have your whole day at work, you clock out, you jump back in your car, you come home, and you're faced with Monday to Friday, you're faced with let's make dinner, let's prep lunch for the next day, let's possibly flop in front of the couch and watch TV, maybe go for a walk or a bike ride, depending on what time it is during the year. Whether we're going to do laundry or not, that's usually left for the weekends. You got to clean the house. You got to clean the bathroom. You got to dust. You got to vacuum. You got to do laundry. If you are a homeowner, you got to cut the grass. You got to shovel the snow. You got to do stuff. And that's your independent schedule. But then all of a sudden, two people are together. And we don't know how long these people have been together. We don't know a few things. So let's just talk about that. So here's 3 very important questions you need to ask yourself about becoming a parent. 1, are you financially stable and secure with your employment? Becoming a parent is not cheap. There is an expense. There is an operating cost. I know it sounds ridiculous when we are talking about a human being, but there is an operating cost. Food, diapers, strollers, like it's endless. Relationship stability, and how stable is a relationship? Commitment. Are you ready? Are you ready or able to be 100% unselfish? Here's the number one question that I think. Let's see. If your recent video about the happiness triangle, you spoke about being vulnerable, but don't you think that in our current scenario doesn't work with most people? Sorry to interrupt. Well, okay, let's look at that happiness, because that happiness triangle is based on you can apply that to any relationship. So you have the positivity. Let's be honest. Who wants to hang out with a complainer and a Captain Grumpo? Not me. 2, the consistency, and we talked about that. The consistency focuses on how often are we seeing the person, but then we have to also, I know it sounds super sad, but we also have to keep track of what that consistency means. Am I the one who does all the driving? Am I the one who's always coming to you? Am I the one who's always paying for everything? And so you kind of have to understand, okay, like are you being met in the middle? That's important in the consistency part of the triangle. If the positivity and if the consistency is healthy and we're seeing each other on a regular basis, and let's just talk about the friendship. We see each other once a week. You come to me, I go to you. I'm paying, you're paying. That's balance. So now those two together over time allow you to build the trust, which is at the very top of the triangle. The safe zone, right? You start to feel safe. And that's where you really benefit from a healthy happiness triangle, because when you get to the top of that relationship, you now have somebody that you can feel comfortable with crying with, venting with, problem solving with, just getting stuff off your chest. I'll give you a metaphor because I enjoy the metaphors. If I'm just curious, are you still with me or did you pull away? Because it's showing that there's nobody watching right now. Because if you're not there, I'm not going to continue my explanation because it makes no sense to anybody else. Yeah, maybe he has pulled away. Okay. Well, everybody, here's what we're going to do. We are an hour and 15 minutes into this car crash. And it's been a bit of a learning experience for me. And I just want to say, you know what, if let's go back real quick and summarize today's live stream. You got to work on an idea. You got to figure out your titles. You got to figure out your descriptions, and you got to figure out your thumbnails. Now, the idea for the video, well, you've got to figure out what the value is. And once you figure out the value, then you got to figure out, well, what does your audience care about? And if you marry those two together, it's a home run. Then you got to figure out your titles. And your titles are going to be based on basically 4 emotional triggers. You're going to talk about curiosity. In the titles, you're going to try to poke curiosity. You're going to try to poke contrast. You're going to try to poke fear. You're going to try to poke desire. Those are the 3. Hey, I'm back again. Had some net issues. No problem. Let me just finish off my thought, and then maybe we can get back to that. Then, description. The first 200 characters, super important for AI data points. That's what they're going to study to try to figure out what they're going to do to go out and find your audience. And then it's your thumbnail. If you can get the ideas, the titles, and the descriptions and your thumbnails down, and you put in the time, then over time, it's going to work in your favor. It's not going to happen in 3 weeks. The average channel takes 15.5 months. Building an audience, building trust, building community, it is not easy. You're gonna have to believe more than anybody else that you're gonna succeed, because if you're gonna let views and subscribers impact how you feel about the content that you're creating, you're just gonna shrivel up and die. You're just gonna give up. You have to push all that aside. You have to say to yourself, if I could help one person in this world with my content, you're making progress. If you're just in it for, of course we all want to be monetized. I can't imagine, and I can't wait for the feeling someday to be monetized. But I mean, I'm realistic. It might take me 3 years. Do you, as a content creator, do you have the endurance to weather 3 years of grinding basically for free because you're not getting paid? And, I'm putting in 15 plus hours a week trying to come up with content that I'm passionate about, that I want to share, and I'm trying to tell people, because I'm on Reddit a little bit, never, ever pay to grow your channel. Growing your channel, paying to grow your channel it's not going to work. You can't find paying will never substitute passion. Paying will never substitute maturing your business, which is running your channel. You don't have to pay. And I know a lot of people are getting suckered in. Everything you need to find is online. It's either through the book, it's either through Google searches, it's either through time spent online, doing video searches and listening to people. So don't spend any money. What you got to do is you got to be passionate about your channel. You have to have strategy, because YouTube is running a business. So the sooner you take your channel like a business, the sooner you're going to get to a better place. And then it just takes time. And I've given myself 2 years. So, again, I'm not holding myself to 2 years. To be completely honest with you, I've given myself like 5 or 6. I'm 54. I would like to retire at 60. My partner is retiring in like 4 or 5 years, 5 or 6 years. So I don't plan on retiring, but I plan on hopefully being a content creator who has eventually crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold, is a part of the YouTube partner program, and is driving in a few bucks to supplement gas money. I don't know. When I retire, I think, okay, if the channel was actually going somewhere, I could share what's going on as a content creator in retirement, places I'm going. I think the channel will eventually evolve. Let's see here. May I ask? Okay, well, ask away. I'm here to answer your questions. So I'm totally happy. I will sit here until you're ready to give me your question. Here's a question for you. I know that we can go, what did you do before YouTube? Well, I'm still currently working full-time during the day. I'm in the trades. I am what you would call a fitter welder in this world. So I read blueprints and I put together very, very heavy pieces of steel together. I can't really tell you where I work, the name of my company, and what I'm actually doing, because there are some in my employee handbook, there are privacy issues that I have to respect and comply with. So all I can say is that I'm in the trades. I'm a fitter welder. Thankfully, I can say that because I do work for a fantastic employer who bends backwards, as far as I'm concerned, for me and for those who get it, I actually enjoy going to work and doing what I'm doing. But what I want to do is I want to be able to break that boundary of the location of my employment. So 6 years from now, when I'm possibly alive and hopefully well and doing, and I'm 60, I want to be able to say, okay, I'm not done retiring, but I'm 6 years into this YouTube channel, and hopefully I'm over 1,000 subscribers and I'm monetized and I'm driving in a few bucks. Now I can still continue to work because I'm doing this, and this is I'm very passionate about having a YouTube channel. This does not feel like work. This does not feel like a job. And so what I want to do is I want to be able to take this hobby 6 years from now and basically continue to share what's going on in my life. So continue to still give life advice, I hope, to people that are younger than me. Learn from my mistakes, my regrets, the things that because I'm not a perfect human being. I have fallen on my face a whole bunch of times, but I do know that failure and disappointment are great teachers. They've made me a better person. But I also want to be able to just share what I'm doing, where I'm going, and also help people with their channel. I think that at some point when my YouTube channel crosses 1,000 subscribers, and I can actually prove to people that I'm monetized and moving forward, I think I'll actually get. I know it sounds crazy, but you just get more respect. If somebody has 1 million subscribers and 10 million views, and they're saying, the sky is blue, and somebody with 100 subscribers and 1,000 views says the sky is blue. For some reason, the person with 1 million subscribers and 10 million views seems to have more legitimacy when they say it's blue. I don't get it. But that's what seems to be going on in this creator community. You have a big channel, you must know what you're doing. And so let's listen to that person. And, the little guy who's under 1,000 subscribers is probably well, I'm not going to say more passionate, but just as passionate, and he's getting no respect. So that part is a little crazy. But I know that I'm just going to keep pounding away. And so I go to a job, like I have a 40-hour work week. I have adult responsibilities. I worry about my 2 children. And I have a wonderful partner who gives me an opportunity who gives me the opportunity to find the time to try to put these videos together. And at some point, I'm going to really relax into this hobby of mine. And I'm going to try to come to the table and offer value each and every time. I'm a very simple person. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Be thankful. I plan on being very transparent with my channel success. I was on Reddit and somebody thought I was trying to sell them something, which was disappointing because, and I will make it clear to those people, and I'll also make it clear to everybody here and yourself. The only person or place that I am looking to get paid from is the YouTube partner program. I'm not going to sell people anything. I'm not going to lie to them. I used to actually run a business for 9 years before I became a fitter welder, and I was very good at it. Unfortunately, I did have problems with a partner who wasn't honest with me, and that's as far as I want to go. But the only philosophy that I could pass on that is very relatable from business to real life, and it was something that I grew up with, to be honest, that my dad pounded away on me. My dad would say, because my background is European, so my dad's pretty old school and pretty tough. But my dad would say, the only shortcut in life, listen to this. I'd be like 10, 12 years old and he'd be driving me crazy with this. The only shortcut in life is to do it right the first time. Most of the time, you're going to hate what you're doing. So if you're going to put in a 50% effort to do what you don't want to be doing the first time already, well, you're going to probably end up doing it a second time because you dragged your butt on the first try. So the only way to get through something as quickly as possible in your life, if you absolutely don't dig it, is to do it right the first time. So you know that the amount of time you invested in it will never come back and haunt you because you put your best foot forward. And so as much as that philosophy drove me crazy as a kid, I live by that sword today. And so if there's a piece of advice that I could give you in regards to, whatever area of your life that you're doing today, because I live by that sword today. I'm 54 years old. I live by that sword today. I don't want to be doing this or I don't want to be doing that. But because I have to do it, I'm going to put my best foot forward, knowing that as soon as I'm done with that task, I am never going to see that task again because there are no mistakes. There are no errors. Like when I look at what I do for a living today, I am allowed to share with you that my variances are within a 16th of my blueprints. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the tape measure, but there are 16 little ticks when you look at an inch on a tape measure, and they represent measurement. And so when the blueprint that I'm working with says plus minus a 16th, you have to stick to that measurement. So that's what I do. I'm always shooting for the best that I can do because what I do is not easy. But thankfully, the place of employment that I go to, those people are fantastic. My employer, the owner of the company, he's a fantastic dude. My supervisors are fantastic. My personal supervisor, who supervises something like, I think, 40 people, I don't know how he keeps it together because there are a range of people, right? All kinds of different personalities. And some personalities, I would imagine, come with some really interesting challenges. but I can only speak about myself. And so what I do to succeed at work, this is a very simple formula. So, before I keep going here, I want you to just give me a sound check. Does my sound to you, is it clear? Is it loud enough? Is it crispy? Is it annoying? Because I know that sound is really important for YouTube and people that are watching. So could you just give me a sound check and tell me if you think my sound is okay or if it's not okay? It's clear. Cool. All right. So, let's just talk about work a little bit, because this is something that you can apply to everything in your life. This is a philosophy that you can apply in any area of your life. And I envy the fact that you're a young man, 18 years old. Man, I tell you, I don't even recognize myself. But what can you control? And now let me see if I can break that down for you. In this world, the only person who truly cares about you are three people: your mother, your father, and yourself. And if you have siblings, obviously your brothers and sisters. But when you're looking at yourself, nobody cares about you more than yourself. Nobody cares about you until you care about yourself. Meaning that if you want to be unproductive in this world, you will be abandoned. Like, nobody cares that you're struggling. Nobody cares that you can't figure it out in this world. So if you want to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's just work or if you actually get lucky enough and find your passion, what can you control? Well, you can control your attendance, whether it's at school or work. You can control your attendance. You can control being on time. You can control the way you interact with the people around you. You can control your level of production, or you can control your quality of production. You can control your pride. You can do the best. You can control a lot of things that are very valuable to you. And so if someone is clear in thinking and saying, okay, I'm gonna show up on time. I'm gonna put my best foot forward. I'm going to I'm going to take pride in what I'm doing. I'm going to put my name. I don't care. I don't care if you're sweeping the floor. I don't care if you're painting lines. I don't care if you're cleaning up garbage. I don't care what it is you're doing. If you put your best foot forward, people will notice your ethic and people will respect you more for who you are. Are people going to take advantage of you in this world along the way? Absolutely. But as you mature and as you become stronger in your life, your mind and your philosophy will say, you know what? I deserve a little more respect. And there are going to be times when you're going to make a decision on whether you want to stand up for what you believe in or kind of let it run you over. And that's a really fine line, because there are going to be people in your life who are going to want to steamroll you, take advantage of you, use you, disrespect you, and treat you poorly, even though you're putting your best foot forward. And so you have to make a decision. Do you want to remove yourself from that environment and continue to put your best foot forward somewhere else? Or are you going to let these people break you down and turn you into a grump? Because I think that's what happens to a lot of people in our society. And there's the person that goes to work and doesn't get in line, meaning doesn't show up. What is one learning you got from that one bad experience from the one friend who betrayed you? If it's okay for you to answer. Well, I will answer that. So I had a customer who I thought, I had a customer in my old business who I thought became a friend. And then I had a business opportunity to grow my business, but I needed a partner. So let's just leave it at that. So I had gone to this customer turned partner who I thought was a friend, who I had known for about 6 years. And I went to him and I said, "Here's the opportunity. Are you interested?" And that person said, "Yes." Well, long story short, that person ended up um, what we call skimming. So that person ended up stealing money from me, which upset me and also kind of destroyed my business. And so we had to go to court and I had to file for bankruptcy and I had to distance myself from him. And, I was devastated, to be honest. I had taken a thought from my mind and I had manifested it into reality. Build it and they will come. When you put that level, when you put that amount of passion and energy into anything, it will come true. I'm doing the exact same thing with this channel. When I first started my business, this is back in 2004, and it survived until 2013. I had no idea what I was getting into. I have no university education. But I was in a situation at like 35 years old where I was like, I don't want to go to work anymore. People treat me poorly. People aren't nice to me. I need to make, at the time, I was like, I need to make $50 a day to survive. That was it. And so while I was working, I did have a bit of savings. So I quit my job and I ran an ad in the newspaper and I had one cell phone. It was actually a flip phone, to be honest with you. And I ran the ad on my service, and I got a request. I went out and I did the person's request. It started out. I'm not gonna share the name of the business. I'm gonna give you some idea as to what I was doing, but it's not important. But I will kind of tell you where I'm going. So I took care of I took care of the person's request. We worked on the list of chores that I had to do. And I'm telling you, it was the best feeling in the world. I was free. I was independent. I was steering my own ship. And I was like, wow. And I had never felt that way before. And I'm just somebody who at the time was a high school graduate. So I had no post-secondary education prior to that. And I grew up with a situation where, you know, unfortunately, my parents at times weren't super cool. And, my dad would say, "Oh, you're stupid and you're worthless and you're this or that." And, when you're a kid, when your dad's telling you that you're worthless, you tend to believe it, right? So I was like, wow, I just made, put an ad in the paper and somebody called me and went out and took care of them. From that very first day, I remember saying to myself that if I treat everybody, this is a real philosophy because this worked for 9 years. So, you know, try to listen, please. But I said to myself from that very first customer, I said, if I treat everybody like they're my last customer, I will always be in business. And you know what? It worked. That's what I did. When somebody would call me, I would go to them and I would help them with their problems. And when I left, I would make sure that they were happy. I would say, before I got here, and then when the job was done, I would say, is the situation better now than it was when I came to you? And they would say, yes. Then I would ask the customer, are you happy with my service? And they would say, absolutely. So then I would, at that moment, I would prompt them with a call to action. I would say, if you could do me a favor, please, this is what I would say to them. If you come across somebody in your private life who has a problem that you think I can solve for them, would you give them my name? And they would say, yes, absolutely. Why? Because I had just served them. I just took care of their problem. I made their problem go away. They were very happy. So over the course of 9 years, there was very little advertisement. Yes, I had a website. Yes, I had equipment. Yes, I had the name of my services on my equipment. But my business grew through word of mouth. Word of mouth because I was so thankful that a kid who only had a high school education had worked his way up, had somehow mustered the guts to say, you know what? I don't want to work for these people anymore. Nobody's nice to me. Everybody thinks that because they are paying you, they should treat you poorly. And I was like, I'm sick of that shit. I'm not dealing with these people. I'm not like those people. I'm a good person. Why should you be mean to me this way? And so I was like, I've had it. I'm done. So I went forward with, I'm going to treat every customer like they're my last customer, and I believe that I will always be in business. If that customer turned friend, turned terrible business partner, hadn't ruined my life to a certain extent, I would probably still be in that business today. And I'll tell you where it's like, I'd started at like $50 a day. I remember in the beginning, I used to say, okay, I just need to make $50. Then I was like, well, I'm making $100 a day. Let's see what else I can do. Over the course of 9 years, in the beginning, it was $50, but near the end, and of course, when you're in business, you go through infancy. So there's a ratio of who's going to succeed 0 to 12 months. Then there's another ratio of who's going to succeed in business from that first year to the end of that third year. So now you're 4 years in. That's called adolescence. And then 4 years to 9 years, so about 5 years, that's the mature stage. Once you get through the adolescence, the infancy and the adolescence, then your business just keeps maturing. And whether it's been at it for another 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, those are the 3 stages that you go through in anything that you're doing. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here with this channel. But by the end, those last 5 years of my business, I was averaging around $3,000 a day. And I was just so proud of myself. I was like, wow, I started at $50 a day. Look where I am today. And it was all based on treat people. It was all based on, man, I've just had a brain fart. It was all based on treating people like they were your last customer. I lived by that philosophy and it worked. And so, you can take that into your life and you can take that philosophy into all kinds of areas. Let's see here. How do you judge people if they are trustable or not? Trustable or not? Well, I got caught once, and that's a tricky question. I'm not really sure if I can give you an answer because I got tricked. The person that I got to know looked good, dressed well, drove a really nice car, lived in a really nice house, in a really nice neighborhood, and I thought I could trust them, and I got burned. So, but that only happened once. How do you judge people? I mean, on a basic level, they get 3 strikes, right? How are they talking to you? Your body has a bit of it has a system that says, listen to your gut. As you get older, you will establish what I would want to call spidey senses. You kind of get a feel for like what's going on. It's hard when you're young because you've only been on the planet like 18 or 19 years. I get it. And so, how do you determine if somebody's, being nice to you? How do you judge people if they are trustable or not? Well, you give them a little bit of rope, I guess is probably a metaphor that I could use. You test them. You don't really test them, but you test them. People, relationships, not the happiness triangle, but relationships, unfortunately, it's almost like I know it sounds terrible, but some people do this. Why would I want to be your friend? That's a question you can ask yourself. Why would I want to be your friend? I'm asking in theory, okay? Well, does he drive? Does he have a lot of friends? Does he I'm trying to think about your demographic. I'm thinking about your demographic. So let's I'm going to try to go back to being an 18-year-old kid, and I'm going to try to figure out why. We're just going to role play a little bit here. I'm going to try to figure out why I would want to be your friend. So this is how I think a lot of people your age, not everybody, but I think this is how a lot of people think at your age. Why do I want to be his friend? Does he drive? Does he know a lot of people? Does he go to parties? How loose is he with his money? Does he lend me money? Does he spend money on me? Does he buy for me? Does he say, yeah, no problem, I'll cover this? Um, is he good looking? Is he not good looking? How many girlfriends does he know? And I know it sounds terrible, but when you're young, and believe me, it still kind of happens when you're older, but people size each other up. People are kind of walking around with this clipboard that you don't really see, and they're like, well, why would I want to spend my time with you? What is the return on investment for me? And then you have to kind of look at who you are as a human being. And I know it sounds super terrible, but you have to look at yourself as a human being. You have to say, okay, in exchange for my time or our relationship, how will I benefit? Healthy people will say, well, we're friends and we enjoy each other's company and we enjoy our conversations and we have the same interests and we do stuff together and we're building a bond and it's based on positivity and we consistently experience this because consistency develops the predictability. And then, oh my God, I'm super comfortable with this person and I can go to this person because I need emotional support, and I can hug this person, and I can cry to this person, and I can get kind of like advice from this person, and I can feel safe. I can feel heard, loved, and seen. That's the healthy version, but there's very, very few of those. Listen, there are, to be honest. I mean, I'm in one right now with my partner Kelly, who's a wonderful woman, and I love her to death. And I never thought I would be this happy and satisfied. But it is super safe, and it's got really healthy love, and it's about relationships, and it's about respect, and it's about love, and it's about being able to understand each other, and it's about communicating. But when you're 18, man, it's just so fake, if I could say that. What kind of clothes is he wearing? What kind of shoes is he wearing? And it's just baloney. But how do you judge people? Well, I think you have to start with yourself. I think you have to, when you're a young person in this world, I think you have to kind of say, okay, well, what are my values? What are my beliefs? How would I want people to treat me? How would I want to treat people? How would I want to receive the return on my investment? So I think at your age, I think you have to really think about, who you are and how you want to present yourself in this world. And that doesn't mean you're never going to have a bad experience, because believe me, you're going to have bad experiences. But as you experience those experiences, you're going to polish and refine, which is what I call that theory. You know how a little earlier I said pain and disappointment are the greatest teachers in everybody's life. They are. Uh, when things are good, let's be honest, when things are good, what are you really learning? You're enjoying the experience. You're not, you're enjoying the experience. You're not really evolving. You're not really shedding any skin, right? When you experience pain and disappointment, and you work your way through that, and you come out on the other side, that's when you really shed skin. That's when you really are learning. That's when you're really going, wow, that experience really sucked, but I've pulled myself away from that experience. I now understand the lessons of that experience, and I'm going to take what I learned that is positive, that can kind of take me in this direction. I'm going to hang on to that, and the rest of it I'm going to throw away, which is what I call, polish and refine. You're kind of sifting. Here's another way of looking at it. Life is like a wall. And so in 2024, you're holding that brick in your hand. And if I could kind of give you a little metaphor from a masonry point of view, you take that brick, 2024, you parge it all up, boom, you stick it on the line. And now it's setting and it's becoming a part of the wall. But you don't really know what the value of that one brick is, that 1 year in your life. You don't really understand the value of that contribution because you're currently in it. It's 2024. But then we go through it again, 2025. You remortar it. You put it on the line right next to 2024. You've now removed yourself from 2024. You've now spent a year in 2025. When you do that over and over, and then you're into year 2030, and you look back on 2024, the further away you are from that brick, the clearer, the more understanding that brick will communicate to you. And you'll be 6 years out in 2030, and you're like, wow, I remember learning that lesson in 2024. Wow, that was shitty. But you know what? It made me a better person. I know from my experience that every disappointing, every failure in my life had a reason, had a purpose. I mean, life is really, really interesting at times. And so it's only through failure and disappointment that I can actually say, I'm a better person. At one point, I was this way. Then you go through an experience, and man, it is tough. And believe me, I've had one hell of an experience. And you cry your eyes out, and you feel alone, and you're in the dumps, and you're trying to figure out how you got here, and you've given up, you have forfeited a bunch of time that you can't get back, and you're trying to figure out, how did I get here? What happened? And sometimes it's because of you, and sometimes it's because of other people. As a person who is 54 years old, looking back on you and saying, wow, you are a really good speaker. Well, thanks. Thank you. I also want to know how I could be more focused on productive things rather than being distracted. Okay, well, one, thank you for saying that I am a really good speaker. I'm speaking to you out of experience and passion. I'm speaking to you out of confidence, out of being. I'm speaking to you because I'm okay with being vulnerable. I'm okay with being vulnerable. I mean, I cry every week. Not every week anymore, because life is pretty good right now. But at one point, I'll be honest with you, I cried. I cried a lot. And when you look at that, we live in a world today where it is changing, and I'm really happy to hear that. But once upon a time, men are supposed to be tough and stoic and cold and can't touch me, and God forbid I cry. Can't show my emotions. I'm the man. It's like, give me a break. I think you're a stronger, I think you're a more healthy individual in this world if you actually have the ability to identify that I think you're a better person in this world as a man if you can identify with your emotions and cry and relate and let it out. You need to make room, man. Like if you can't make room, it's going to be a long haul. Imagine you can't let go of your emotions. And let's just call it, let's call each year a suitcase. And this is all a metaphor, right? Well, you got that first suitcase, it's behind you, and you start dragging that around with you. That's year one. And then year two, you daisy chain another luggage bag onto your emotions of life. Well, you go through life. How many of those are you dragging around? The weight of all of that is just so unhealthy. You look over your shoulder and you're like, wow, I've got like 50 of them. And you're wasting all that energy dragging all of that garbage around with you. When really, if you could connect with your emotions and just cry, which is a very healthy skill set to have, you can kind of like, okay, I've had a cry. This totally sucked. And what did I learn from it? Grab what you can and then let the other stuff go and continue to make room. Because if you don't learn to let go, it's going to build up. And then one day you're going to just explode. Look at, do me a favor. Obviously at some point, go to your local store, buy yourself a plastic bottle of Coca-Cola, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. I'm almost tempted to go downstairs and grab one for you. Hang on. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 minutes and I will give you a very nice example of how someone on the inside looks when they can't learn to let go. I'll be right back. Give me 1 minute. All right. So here is somebody who can't let go of their emotions. Years and years and years pile up. And you get the world chips away at you and you become grumpier, shorter. Your view becomes narrower. And I just climbed a bunch of stairs, so I apologize for being out of shape. And so if you can't deal with your emotions, it looks like this. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is. All of that energy is just trapped in there. And so, you're living your life and then somebody comes along and they rub you the wrong way and it just builds up there. There's so much energy in this bottle of Coke right now that if I opened it without any real control, if I just completely snapped, all of this would spray, right? But when you learn to tune into your emotions, when you can relate to your emotions and you can identify that you need to make room, you go like this. You let it out a bit. You open it a bit. And you go, okay, I need to release it a bit. And then you stop it. And now you've just made a little bit of room. And you live another day. The next day comes along, somebody rubs you the wrong way, and you're not happy about it. You're stewing in it, and you have two choices. You can either just let that cap go and it just pisses everywhere and it causes a lot of trouble, or you say, "Oh, I need to cry." So then I control it. I open it. I let some out, and I go, "Okay, I need to stop it again." And that's crying. That's basically what this is. You know that you can only take so much. You need to let it out, and you control it. You have a cry, and that allows you to make room. And if you do that on the regular, I think you're going to live a lot longer in this world, because there are people in this world. I'm going to see if I can take a drink here. Oh, look at that. Cool. Hang on. I'll be right back. There are a lot of miserable people in this world. Let me tell you. And those miserable people are trying to, if you're at peace with yourself, which I am, I'm going to talk about myself. Generally, your examples are really good. You must do TED Talks, really. Yeah, I wish. Thank you very much. That would be awesome. It's just, it's coming from the heart. It's coming from life experience. It's coming from what I've been through in this world. It's coming from a very genuine interest to help. It's coming from, just being a good person. I believe in this world that you will, every day you have a choice. The world isn't saying, "Ooh, I'm going to ruin his life." You're ruining your own life. You have a choice. You can get up in the morning, you can say, "Okay, let me look for the opportunities." Excuse me. Oh man, I just had a little burp. The most valuable currency you have in your life is your health. A lot of people take their health for granted. I don't smoke or drink. I don't care what other people are doing, but I read enough information in the news to know that, excuse me, if you drink a lot and if you smoke a lot, it's probably not going to help you. I drink Coke. Some people say it's not great either, but I like to drink Coke. You have a choice. You have a choice. When you're healthy, you have time. When you have time, you can build memories. In this world, it's really about memories and experiences. Unfortunately, I live in North America, and we live in a very capital kind of profit-driven, kind of focused mentality in our society. And I believe that there are a lot of people, companies sitting in boardrooms going, "How are we going to depress these people? How are we going to tell them that their TVs, their cars, their houses, their cottages, and whatever else, whatever other consumer product is out there, that they don't have enough, that it's not big enough, that you're a total loser if you don't have these things." And there are a lot of people who really buy into that. And okay, sorry about that. And so I think that if you can look at life as, okay, it's more about building memories than it is collecting stuff, I think it's a much healthier way to go. Being 54, I envy anybody who's your age now. I think, man, if I could go back and be 18 years old again, how much different I would be in regards to what I would do. Don't waste your time. I think you should try to find what is passionate for you. You have to, in this world, you've got to work to make a buck, right? So try to figure out what makes you happy. Try to see if it can drive in a buck. And they say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And, I had my experience with my business. You know, I had worked for other people who who treated me poorly, who disrespected me, who talked down to me, who thought that because they paid me, they could treat me like shit. And I was like, that's not cool. When I ran my business, the people that extremely sorry, but my battery is almost dead. I really have to go, but really thanks for sharing. No problem. I'll see you again. Thanks for stopping by. And I'll probably do another one of these because this has been kind of fun. And we'll just pick it up again some other time. So you have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Be healthy. And thank you so much for giving me your time today. It's really appreciated. So I'm going to see if I could possibly wrap this up then, and we'll move on. All right. Bye. Okay, everybody. Getting back to what we were talking about. YouTube is not easy. But if you believe in what you're trying to achieve, as long as you believe, you will give it the energy that it needs. I see that there's 2 people here. So I'm trying to figure out if we have 2 new people with me, can you say hi, please? And if you have any questions about YouTube, or I'd like to know what your experience is like, what's going on, we could talk about it. Looks like there's nobody there now. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap it up then because we've been at it for like 2+ hours. If this is the tail end here, if you're serious about your business or if you're serious about your YouTube channel, you're going to have to take it like a business. I would suggest reading this book. There's also a ton of information on Google. There's also a ton of information on Reddit. There's also a ton of information on YouTube. If you can lead with passion, if you can develop a strategy, and if you can give it enough time, your channel will succeed. You will work your way through 0 to 1,000 subscribers, and you will go beyond that. It isn't going to happen in 3 weeks. It isn't going to happen overnight. There's going to be peaks and valleys. As long as you maintain that belief that you will achieve, you will succeed. I've had fun today. I didn't think I would be on here for almost 2 hours. Well, it's 2 hours, 7 minutes, but that's what it is. This is my very first live stream, so it was kind of a little nerve-wracking. But I just want to say thank you. My commitment to you is I'm going to be transparent along the way, and I'm going to show you how I succeeded. I'm never going to try to sell you anything. I'm looking to earn a paycheck from YouTube. So if I give you any advice on any platform, YouTube or Reddit, I'm not up to anything. You know, I'm somebody who really enjoys helping. It makes me feel good. And, you know, I'm just trying to lay that out there to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not up to anything, but just being a good person in this world, trying to help those. I'm not giving you a handout. I'm trying to give you a hand up. That's all I'm doing. So it's Saturday. It's been an interesting experience. I'll do it again. And if you have any questions, you know, fire away. You know, catch me on Reddit, catch me here, and don't give up. Good luck, and we will see you soon. Bye, everybody.